Good morning. For today we're going to be getting started with project number 13, and project 13 is the start of our very latest of electrical appliances, and that would be the three-way switches. In this case, for these scenarios with a three-way switch, we have 3 boxes where the 2 three-way switches would control a lamp holder in box 3. We're going to start off with an easy setup regarding the three-way switches, where the 2 three-way switches will be in boxes 1 and 2, and of course our lamp holder being controlled by the 2 three-way switches in box number 3. Now, a few things to be able to clarify when it comes to the three-way switches. At first glance with the three-way switches and how you go about wiring can be rather intimidating to those that are doing this for the first time. And once you get started with the first project and having to put together the three-way switches, it's such an easy appliance to have to put together. So to point out a few elements regarding the three-way switch. First would be this. When it comes to a three-way switch, you have 3 terminals, I'm not counting the ground terminal. When it comes to a three-way switch, you have 2 gold terminals. Those 2 gold terminals are what are called travelers. We'll get to that in a moment. And this 3rd terminal down here that's colored black is called the common. Now, what I tell students when it comes to a common terminal is that is going to be your power that's either going to be coming in or it's going to be leaving the switch going to your lamp holder. Now, referring back to your travelers, the travelers are going to be connected to other travelers. That is the power exchange between one three-way switch to another three-way switch, or it could be power traveling between the three-way switch to a 4-way switch, which we'll see in future projects. But for these first few sets of projects, the three-way switches, you're going to be dealing with only 2 three-way switches controlling that lamp holder. So again, commons are power that's going in or going out of that three-way switch, and travelers always connect to other travelers. Now, what students ask is, does it matter which traveler you have connected to what traveler? In the scheme of things, when it comes to this whole simulation, it's pretty easy to be able to hook up to the same exact side of traveler that you have on the opposite three-way switch. However, when it comes to an actual scenario, real life scenario, and being able to see within a wall the three-way switch and which terminal is going to what terminal on a traveler, hard to tell. All in all, it does not matter what traveler you have hooked up to. If you have the left side traveler hooked up to the other left side traveler on the second three-way switch, that's okay. Or it does not matter if you have it hooked up from the left side to the right side of the opposite traveler on the other three-way switch, that's okay too. Perfectly legal. However, you do not have traveler hooked up to common. And also, for another problem that I see with students is having traveler connected to the lamp holder. Not the appropriate way of wiring the three-way switch to light. You always want to have your travelers always connected to the other travelers and your commons are going to be your power in or the power that's connected to your lamp holder. Where we see in this scenario, the power that's going in. Okay, so this black wire here, this is my power in, hooked up to my common. And then I have my two travelers. These two travelers are going to be hooked up to my other travelers. And just that way you can be able to see from the other side. Here are my travelers. There's my common. This common will now run through box number 2, going over to my lamp holder in box number 3. Pretty easy to be very straightforward with you, but again, can be intimidating to those doing this for the first time. Can be rather confusing because you're dealing with other terminals when it comes to your light switch. But as long as you can remember, traveler with traveler, and the common's purpose is power in as well as power going to your appliance, it's a very easy project to have to put together. And what's the scenario that we encounter this three-way switch? Well, I like to detail it as this. You know, if it's the middle of the night and you're having to get up to get a drink of water and travel down a hallway, it's always nice to actually get to turn on a light switch from your bedroom to be able to walk down the hallway without stubbing your toe, as well as turn off the light once you reach the kitchen, as well as vice versa. Traveling back from the kitchen to your bedroom, being able to turn on a light from the kitchen without stubbing your toe as you go down the hallway. So, a lot easier to be able to go from one side of the room to another, to be able to turn on a light as well as turn off a light once you get to the other side. So, very easy to get to see this firsthand, but let's see it in the practical side. Let's see this actually conducted and how we go about wiring this together. So as I usually do, I'm going to start with box number 1, starting up with our first appliance, the first three-way switch. Right away, I'm just going to go ahead and just start wiring together my commons. Pigtails are the same. Continue wiring your pigtails clockwise. Wire your pigtails clockwise on each of your terminals. From there, I'll go about wiring my my travelers. Again, does not matter which of my colored wires on my 12-3. Doesn't matter what side I have it on. Okay, and that's my wiring for box number 1. Now to have my power, it's kind of work in order from the wiring. I have my first sets of travelers hooked up in box number 1. Let's have where those travelers lead to in box number 2. So wiring my other set of travelers. I'll start with my black wire like I did with box number 1. Does it really matter? No, but just to make it, just so that way you guys can see it makes sense. Those of you in the video, I feel like it would make a lot more sense to you that I do it in the order that I'm putting together the wire in the first box. There's one traveler. Okay, so there are my 2 travelers for my second 3-way switch. Now, what's next? My common. That's the power going, the power that's between these 2 3-way switches will then travel to its the appliance that it's controlling, and that's what this second common terminal is. And from there, I'm going to connect my black wire to my common. That will be connected to my lamp holder. Kind of stagger them so that way you guys will be able to see a little bit better. So there's my black wire for my second common. From there I go about wiring together my lamp holder. And there we have it. There's my hot wire hooked up to my lamp holder. From there I can just go ahead and connect my neutrals. And I'll start from the back with the lamp holder and then work my way to box number 1. Now, another similarity between the 3-way switch to your single pull, single throw is going to be the neutrals. There are no neutrals when it comes to your 3-way switches. The only neutral that you're going to be having to deal with is just that lamp holder in box number 3. Just relay those neutrals back over to box number 1, just connecting them by a wire nut. Again, yes, there are no neutral terminals when it comes to these three-way switches, just like our single pole, single throws. Oops. And one of my wires break off inside the wire nut. These are the same sets of wires I've had for all 13 projects. I'm starting to have some wires kind of snap, which is, that happens. From there, I'm just going to hook up my my grounds. So that way you can kind of see a little bit better. But that concludes my wiring for project number 13. Very easy once you get started with that first project of a three-way switch. While it may seem rather intimidating that you have additional terminals that have to wire together, it's very simple to be able to actually piece it all together. And how that works would be, if I have one switch flip the other direction, my light may turn off. But if I were to flip my switch the opposite direction, my light can suddenly turn on. Same thing if I were to turn that off that way and flip that one on, my light can be able to turn back on. Pretty easy to see all this piece together and getting to wire the three-way switch to, all together and get to see it actually done. So that concludes project number 13.